Class 10, today's teaching as per the following points. Definition of the Constitution, adoption of the Constitution, Constitution of written form, and the rights of the citizens provided by the Constitution for them. Now, definition. What is the definition of the Constitution? Constitution is, Constitution is the laws, written laws of the country. Constitution is a system by which our country is governed with various laws and various articles. This is known as the Constitution. Now, why is the Constitution? The Constitution is made in order to ensure the citizens' rights, in order to glorify the image of the country, in order to protect the laws of the country, so that the ruling government must follow the system and can run very smoothly. That's why the requirement of Constitution. That's why the Constitution was drafted. Now, the adoption of the Constitution. The Constitution was adopted in the year 1950 on 26th January. 26th January 1950, the Constitution of India was adopted. And before its adoption, the drafting committee took a major decision in consultation with other members of the drafting committee. Chairman Dr. B.R. Ambedkar played a vital role in consulting other members of the drafting committee whether they had any objection, any problem regarding the system of introduction of the Constitution. But everyone consented, so the resolution was passed unanimously and the Constitution was adopted on 26 January 1950. Now, what is the importance of 26 January? The 26 January is important because on this very day, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, being the president of the Lahore session of Lahore session of the Congress in the year 1929, he raised India's first three-color flag beside the river Ravi and demanded complete independence in the year that incident also had taken place. And that's why it is also said that the Constitution, which was adopted on the very day, 26th January, it was done in order to commemorate the image of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who raised the first demand, Swaraj, complete independence, by raising India's three-color flag while conducting the Lahore session of the Congress in the year 1930 and 1929, and later on continued in the year 1930. And now, written Constitution. Why is our Constitution in written form? The Constitution was drafted in written form because our Constitution, there are so many articles, so many parts, so many schedules. That's why, and it was done in order to safeguard the interest of the citizens of India. In our country, there are different groups of students, different sections of students they are living. So, in order to in order to promote their sentiments, in order to promote their culture, their education, their growth, their all-round development, the Constitution has many articles, many parts, many schedules written by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So, while writing these things, it was not possible to make the Constitution without any written form. That's why it was done in written form. Now, question is, what type of Constitution, what is the nature of the Constitution of India? Our Constitution is one of the lengthiest Constitution of the world. Why? Because our country is a country of different group of people of different sentiments, different religions, different languages. That's why to dignify the image of the citizens of India of different culture, different languages, they are given their rights. Which rights? Fundamental rights. fundamental rights are granted by the Constitution of India, and citizens are supposed to exercise their fundamental rights. Whenever their fundamental rights are violated, they can go to any court. But at last, Supreme Court is the protector of the fundamental rights of the citizens. Whenever a citizen goes to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court, protect their fundamental rights by issuing various writs so as to make sure the citizens' fundamental rights, whether they are able to exercise. That's why fundamental rights are very important. Unlike the Constitution of Britain, our Constitution is not unwritten. Like the Constitution of America, our Constitution is written Constitution. Now, rights of the citizens always are able to exercise their rights, but they are unable to exercise their fundamental rights at the time of national emergency. Whenever national emergency is declared in our country, that time citizens cannot exercise their fundamental rights. But this system which is introduced, that is temporary. This is done temporarily. Whenever the emergency is withdrawn, their fundamental rights are given back to them, and they are able to utilize their fundamental rights. And no one can go to court challenging that their fundamental rights are violated during emergency. As soon as emergency will be there, until the emergency is annulled or withdrawn, no one have any right, no one has any right to challenge the system of violation of fundamental rights. And as soon as whenever the process will be over, automatically they would get back their fundamental rights. Now, our Constitution, the Constitution maker Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, has given equal importance to all groups, all citizens of India. Now, why? Because our country passed through a phase of political instability during the time of British. The British ruled our country for about 200 years, and hence Indian revolutionaries, Indian nationalist leaders had to fight against the injustice done to them. That's why, keeping it in mind, the Constitution maker Dr. B.R. Ambedkar made a constitution for all group of people, and everywhere people are able to exercise their rights without being discriminated, without being violent, without being suppressed, without being tortured. Each and every spheres of life, they are able to exercise their rights because of fundamental rights, and fundamental rights articles, their fundamental rights, and the articles, parts and schedules of the Constitution of India. The Constitution also has guaranteed their rights. Therefore, not only that, the Constitution of India can ensure the law and order of the country because of the judges of the Supreme Court, judges of the High Court, judges of the subordinate courts. They are supposed to follow the rules and regulations of the country as per the nature of cases before giving their verdict. The Constitution and its system, which also had become lengthiest only because of the system introduced by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar before adopting it in front of with the consent of the members of the drafting committee. Last point, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru drafted the objective resolution. Now, why was it Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, on being the Prime Minister of India, felt that objective resolution was important for the people, especially the people belonging to lower castes, the people who are deprived though from the people who are living under the below poverty line of the society, they had no right. They were still deprived of all their rights. That's why to provide them more and more facilities, to make sure whether that group of people are able to receive education, proper knowledge, and they are able to have health facilities, facilities of education and other growth of that community. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru introduced the objective resolutions, and while drafting the objective resolution, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru at the same time prepared 5 years planning so that the country's economy and country's economy must become more and more must become very much rich, and economy must become healthy and steady. So, to provide all-round development of the country, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and his objective resolution played a vital role in the entire system of the country. Thank you, my dear students. You, all of you must get yourself ready for the online revision test. The day I have also mentioned in the Teno, you must see, you must watch your Teno and get yourself prepared for the lessons. Lesson number lesson number 3 and 4 from history, the moderates and the rise of assertive nationalism, and one lesson from civics, lesson number 1. All the short questions will be there. No need to get tensed. You will have questions common because of those who are watching my videos. So get yourself prepared, my dear students. Thank you.